When you're looking at a UPS that's supposed to keep a server room humming through a power hiccup, it's easy to get caught up in the glossy spec sheet and forget the real question: will it actually fit into the workflow you already have, and will it protect the equipment you care about without breaking the bank? That's the mindset I've been in for the past few weeks, digging through forums, cross-checking the rack dimensions, and trying to picture a 3000VA unit living alongside a handful of network switches, a couple of rack-mount servers, and a small NVR. If you're on the fence about whether a 2U Smart-UPS from APC is the right move for your small to medium IT setup, stick around. I'm going to walk through what matters after you click Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest hurdle with any high-capacity UPS is space. A 2U footprint sounds compact on paper, but in a fully populated 42U rack that's already humming with patch panels and power distribution units, you have to know exactly where that unit will sit. The APC Smart-UPS 3000VA is 208V, which means it's geared toward data center-grade equipment rather than a single workstation. If your rack runs a 208V bus, this UPS can plug directly in without a step-down transformer, saving both space and a potential point of failure. On the flip side, if you're still on a 120V environment, you'll need an external converter, adding both cost and another component that could fail when you need the UPS most. Another practical concern is the LCD interface. Many of the newer models have moved to web-based management, but this APC unit still carries a small frontline LCD that shows load, battery runtime, and alarm status. In our day-to-day testing, the display was bright enough to read from across the rack, and the navigation buttons felt sturdy enough for frequent use. The real win here is that you can get a quick glance at the health of your power backup without firing up a management console. However, because it's not a full-color screen, you won't see detailed graphs or historical trends directly on the unit. If you need deep analytics, you'll have to rely on the optional PowerShoot software, which is an extra step but not a deal-breaker for most IT admins. Battery runtime is often the headline number people chase. 3000VA sounds impressive until you realize the actual battery life at a typical load is what truly matters. APC advertises roughly 10-minute runtime at 50% load, but in practice the runtime scales with the actual power draw of your devices. If you have a set of servers pulling 1 kilowatt total, you can expect about 1,215 minutes before the batteries are exhausted. That's enough time to trigger a graceful shutdown or to wait for a generator to come online, but it isn't a run-forever solution. The key takeaway is that this UPS is designed to bridge the gap, not replace a proper generator. If you expect more than 15 minutes of backup, you'll need to look at larger battery modules or an entirely different strategy. One of the hidden trade-offs with a unit this size is the weight. At roughly 150 pounds, the Smart-UPS is not something you'll wheel in and out of a rack every week. That mass is actually a benefit for battery stability. Heavy UPS units tend to have longer battery life because the cells stay cooler, but it does mean you need a good handling plan during installation. If you're a small business without a dedicated facilities team, consider hiring a professional for the initial mount. The extra cost up front can save you an hour or two of awkward lifting and potential damage. Now, who should actually consider buying this thing? If you run a modest server room with a few 1U or 2U servers, a handful of network switches, and perhaps a small surveillance NVR, this UPS hits a sweet spot. It gives you enough capacity to handle a combined load of up to 2.4 kilowatts, which is well within the 3000VA rating, and the 208V input aligns with many enterprise-grade power distributions. For IT managers who already have a rack-mount environment and need a reliable, hot-swap battery system, the Smart-UPS provides a proven platform that integrates with APC's broader ecosystem. The LCD gives immediate status, and the optional PowerShoot software adds remote monitoring features that matter when you're juggling multiple devices. Conversely, if you're a home office user or a hobbyist looking for a backup for a single desktop or NAS, this is overkill. You'll be paying for capacity you'll never use, and the physical size will dominate a small rack or even a desktop shelf. In those scenarios, a smaller 500VA or 1000VA UPS with a 120V plug would be more cost-effective and easier to fit on a desk. Practical strengths: the 2U form factor fits into standard racks, the 208V input matches many data center power plans, and the LCD gives quick visual feedback without needing a PC. The battery runtime, while not endless, is sufficient for emergency shutdowns, and the unit supports hot swap battery modules, so you can replace cells,